studios of the MetroNews Radio Network in Morgantown, this is West Virginia's premier sports talk show.
From Weirton to Welch, Martinsburg to Matewan, and all points in between, this is the Northside Automotive Statewide Sportsline.
Tonight's show is brought to you by Northside Automotive, Route 19 in Summersville. We'll beat the advertised price of any other dealer in the state, guaranteed. And now, sitting in for Tony Caridi, here's Brad Howe.
Hi, everyone. Good evening, and welcome in across the state of West Virginia and beyond. The Northside Automotive Statewide Sportsline is on the air for Thursday, December 10th, 2015. Thanks for being with us wherever you may be across the state. I'm joined in studio, as usual, by the coach, Greg Hunter. Greg, I'm not even saying good evening to you. You don't have to address me. We just spent 3 hours doing hotline, so I just want the audience to know you're here.
Hi again.
We'll talk to you here in a minute. Here's what we have on tap for you. Plenty of news, plenty of talk about the news of the day, which is WVU Athletic Director Shane Lyons releasing his statement last night saying Dana Holgorsen is returning as head coach for the 2016 season. We're going to get into all the offshoots of that particular topic tonight. What was left unsaid, what questions remain, how does this affect recruiting? There's a lot of layers to peel back on this story, and we'll do so tonight. Standing by and coming up in just a few minutes, our own Alan Taylor from WVMetroNews.com will be with us to help us do that. And also, it's a fun topic. I think you're going to like this coming up at the bottom of the hour. What kind of swag or gifts for those of you not hip in the language of the kids, Coach Hunter? What kind of gifts do players get when they go to a bowl game? WVU graduate Brandon McClung with the Sports Business Journal will join us, and he'll give us all the details. The Journal takes a look each year at this time, and they compile a great list and really some fun videos about what these gift suite rooms look like that some of the teams have. And Brandon will be by at the bottom of the hour to discuss this, so I think you'll like that. We did it last year, Greg, but we did it when we were hosting Hotline, the afternoon show. I don't think we've had him on for Sportsline on this particular topic, so it's interesting. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, it is.
It's pretty cool. So we'll get into what each bowl has and what they have to offer.
I wonder what
guys.
the media gifts are. You think they got that too?
I don't know. You'll have to ask him that.
I'll ask him that.
Nobody cares, so they don't put an article out on that, so I don't know if he's privy to that.
I've gotten some good media gifts, I'll admit that, and some that are very much not so good.
I'll be interested to see what you get from the Cactus Bowl. They should be pretty good because it's the same group as the Fiesta Bowl, and they do a wonderful job with their gifts. We'll also have some time for you to weigh in on what you think about the statement from Shane Lyons about Dana Holgorsen returning. Do you like it? Do you agree with it? Are you glad that's what happened? You can send me a tweet at BradHowe07, at Brad, HOWE07, or you can give us a call, 1-800-765-TALK, 1-800-765-8255. Let's go to the phones now and bring in Alan Taylor, who joins us. Alan, welcome to the program.
Hey, guys. Good to talk to you.
Good to talk to you, as always. So let's dive in on this, and I think, well, I don't know where your stance is. I'll give you my stance. You've been hearing me scream about this since August, that I felt a contract extension was in the offing, but that it would certainly be tied to a lower buyout. The statement from Shane Lyons last night doesn't get into any of that. It simply addresses and puts to bed what I guess you could say was some speculation that was starting and was pretty widespread yesterday, that there was a chance that Dana may not return. That statement comes out and says he'll be back in 2016. What do you make of the statement, and what do you think happens next?
Yeah, I think the decision had been made for a few days, even before the K-State game, that Dana was gonna be around for 2016. But some signals might have been misread, and given the way other news organizations tend to aggregate content nationwide, something not coming out of Charleston started gaining a life of its own. And so they were sort of moved last night to go ahead and issue a statement just to put an end to that, because I'm told the coaches on the road were getting a lot of friction from the minute they walk in the house about this contract stuff. And of course, I don't think players and their parents are going online and reading about contracts and downloading the PDF, but certainly opposing coaches are putting that situation front and center and making the West Virginia coaches address it. I'm told that the West Virginia coaches are still doing okay on the road. Their recruiting ranking is still between 30 and 35 nationally, depending on what service you look at. So, as of yet, it hasn't taken effect, but they didn't want that speculation getting any any bigger or wilder to affect the kids are trying to close for this year's class.
Alan, one thing that you addressed in your story at wvmetronews.com was the fact that while it said Dana will be back for the 2006 season, Shane Lyons' statement didn't address the contract. What do you make of that?
The statement didn't, but I was told today that is going to happen. At least the negotiation part of that is going to happen soon. I didn't know if it needed to be done by National Signing Day or anything like that. Apparently, that's the time frame isn't at play, but I'm told that it needs to be done before spring football gets here. So, within the next month, I would presume that an extension of some shape is there to satiate the coaches as they try to get that 2017 class going. Because this one, the hay is pretty much in the barn on this current class. They're going to try to finish it off with a flurry of junior college guys and maybe a couple more prep guys, but there's 20-plus commitments already. Time to start working on that 2017 class. And, of course, Shane hasn't come out and said that Dana will be there in 2017 yet, so that part's not going to be far off.
We're joined by Alan Taylor, WVMetroNews.com, and to me, that's one of the most interesting parts of what's happening next is when that contract extension is offered, it's almost certain to include a buyout. Right now, as we know, Dana Holgerson's contract does not have any sort of buyout. It's a fully guaranteed, complete contract given him by Oliver Luck and Jim Clements on the last time around. So I think that's what gets really interesting. And again, I've been saying this, that Shane Lyons, it's his job to protect the athletic department from a financial perspective. And the contract that as it sits right now does not do that. It's huge advantage Dana Holgerson, and I certainly give credit to his negotiating team, Greg. They negotiated, use that term lightly. Yeah. They got a great deal for their client. This next time around, it's going to be a different scenario, though, and I'll be stunned if Shane Lyons doesn't offer up something with some sort of buyout. And then I think the interesting move comes down to what Dana and his folks decide to do with that. Do they accept a contract that is not at the same level as what he's currently operating under? Do they say no to it and just say, we're going to roll the dice and go with 2 years on a contract, which, again, is extremely rare when it comes to the world of Power 5 conferences?
Yeah, and you're looking at a situation where if that was not palatable to Dana, he would almost be, neutering himself. I mean, the whole idea of the contract extension is to give him a window that the other coaches he's competing against have. So if you turn that down, I think that's a bad sign about what's going to come. Even if he might end up leveraging himself with a couple of good seasons more, I guess what I'm saying is there's a very small chance that he would do that, because even if there was a buyout negotiated in the extension, it might not be much less than what Dana would be owed as we go out for the term of this contract. He's set to make $2.9 million in each of the next 2 seasons, and that would essentially be the buyout, whatever's left on that deal. So I think it gets done. I think he wants security. I think he needs it, and his staff needs it to function on the road, because this situation hasn't made it any easier on them. So they have to work sort of doubly hard to earn the trust of the kids when some of that negative recruiting is going on.
Alan, not only is Dana's contract news, but you were in New York this week and obviously saw the basketball game, but you also had a story on a press conference, I guess sort of a meeting that Big 12 Commissioner Bob Bowlesby had with some of the other Power 5 commissioners. And I found some of that stuff interesting. Go over what you thought were some of the key points that you learned there.
Yeah, they had him, the new SEC guy, Sankey, and Swafford from the ACC. The only 2 Power 5 commissioners who weren't there, Jim Delaney and Larry Scott, are the ones who have sort of given Bowlesby some grief in the last few days. Of course, Larry Scott saying that the Big 12 needs a championship game to be fair and to be like the other conferences. And Delaney and his crew filed a last-second amendment last week that makes that whole Big 12 deregulation proposal at least not a surefire thing. In that respect, though, Bowlesby touched on a lot of stuff regarding expansion. Just as he wasn't ready to really get worried and have a knee-jerk reaction after the Big 12 was left out of last year's college football playoffs. Neither is he gloating this time. This year worked out, but he still says, 2 years isn't enough data, enough of a sample size to say whether or not they're fine to stay at 10 teams and to not have a championship game. This is something that, the trend might not truly surface until 3, 4, or even 5 years. And I think he's right about that, although my feelings on it personally are that they need to get one if there's a palatable way to do so. Bowl games, he got drafted onto a bowl oversight committee last month. He joked that he didn't have a lot of time to do any diagnostic on it because he suddenly had the call for active participation. He favors, or thinks there's a lot of conversation, and you can tell by his tone, he favors a move to 7 and 5 being the baseline for bowl eligibility, with certain circumstances allowing 6 and 6 teams, not the way it is now, which is 6 and 6 gets you in, and then sometimes a 5 and 7 does. He actually called the fact that there are 80 bowl eligible teams or 80 teams in bowls this year crazy when there's only something like 113 who are eligible and weren't transitioning to Division I. He also mentioned that he's in favor of looking at basketball as a single semester sport. Went so far as to say that basketball in November, December is largely insignificant except for a few match-made games, and he explained that that's why the Big 12 and the SEC decided to move their challenge to the third week in January, because that is after college football. But the guy's just very measured. Every time I talk to him, I feel more confident in just how savvy he is and how intelligent. I don't think the situation still falls in the Big 12's favor, and I'm not sure that being smart and measured and can correct some of the shortcomings that the conference has. But the Big 12 isn't making its own mistakes right now. Bob Bowlesby is a really top-notch leader and a good guy to have running that deal. And whatever they do with deregulation, whether it's adding 2 teams or trying to have a championship game on top of the round robin, I think it's going to be done with a lot of data and done in the right manner.
All right, good stuff, buddy. As always, we'll leave it there. You have more on that at the website, wvmetronews.com, so we encourage people to check it out. Appreciate you joining us on short notice, and we'll catch up once you get back.
Hey, good job, guys. Enjoyed talking to you.
Thank you. There he is, Alan Taylor. Check him out, wvmetronews.com. A little bit behind on a break, but I want to squeeze another phone call in real quick. Let's talk to Tim in Ravenswood. Tim, thanks for holding. Go ahead. You're on. Tim, are you with us? Hello, Tim in Ravenswood. Going once. Going twice. Sold. Tim, gone in Ravenswood. If you're still listening and can hear us, Tim, call back in. We'll get you on. Time for a break. Stay with us. We're back after this.
West Virginia has balanced its budget on the back of the coal industry ever since we became a state 150 years ago. Historically, the coal industry and coal-fired electric utilities have accounted for over 60% of all business taxes, while high-energy wages contribute a disproportionate share of income taxes, and coal severance dollars sustain important programs in all counties. All told, the industry infuses over $26 billion to our state's economy. Coal alone has paid down nearly $1 billion of the state's workers' compensation debt. Consequently, all state businesses have experienced major reductions in workers' comp benefits. The coal industry has always supported our people and our economy, but it's under attack from the Obama administration and the EPA. It's fighting to survive. Coal taxes in West Virginia are higher than our surrounding states. We're losing coal markets to our neighbors. Let's get our mines and coal miners working again. Support a reduced tax rate for mining, paid for by West Virginia Coal Association.
All Medicare-eligible individuals. It's time for open enrollment. Take advantage of the health plan's Medicare plans, with benefits such as Silver Sneakers gym membership, an extensive list of doctors and hospitals. Contact us 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. 7 days a week at 1-877-847-7915 or visit healthplan.org/Medicare. This information is not a complete description of benefits. Contact the plan for more information. Limitations, copayments, and restrictions may apply. Benefits and/or copayments, coinsurance may change on January 1 of each year.
The Northside Automotive statewide Sportsline returns in 2 minutes, on Metro News. For 30 years, the voice of West Virginia.
there. Just 5 more minutes. Almost home.
Statistics show that 80% of auto fatalities occur close to home on rural roads.
Gosh, cops.
That's why law enforcement is stepping up rural patrols and cracking down on impaired driving. If you are over the limit, you are under arrest because drinking and driving don't mix. Remember, over the limit, under arrest. This message brought to you by the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
This fall, not all blockbusters are movies. The Jeep Black Friday Blockbuster Sales Event. It's the must-see event of the year. Well-qualified current lessees of competitive vehicles get a low-mileage lease on the 2015 Grand Cherokee Laredo for $279 a month.
Welcome back inside Northside Automotive Statewide Sportsline Thursday edition. Brad Howe, Greg Hunter, along with you. And if you ever wanted to tour the homes of West Virginia's original millionaires, the Bramwell Christmas Home Tour is the perfect opportunity to see how Victorian coal barons of the past lived. Stroll the streets and admire the Christmas decorations on the light posts, storefronts, and more. Real holiday spirit. You'll find it here. Wild, wonderful West Virginia. And remember, if you'd like to give us a call, 1-800-765-8255, 1-800-765-TALK, or you can send me a tweet at BradHowe07. And Greg, you know, we've said this a bunch. I don't know how much the listeners have picked up on this, but one of the reasons I think this contract is at the point where it is and why it's such an issue right now is just because of the unusualness or the uniqueness of only having 2 years remaining on your deal. And I've talked about this a bunch. This season, the 2015 season, there were only 2 head coaches among the FBS conferences that coached this year or went into this season with 2 years remaining on a contract. One was Tim Beckman of Illinois, who was fired a week before the season began. The other was Mike London from Virginia, who was fired right after the season. But there's another layer to that, and again, shows you the uniqueness of this. There weren't many guys that coached this season with only 3 years remaining on a contract.
Yeah.
Okay, you ready for this list? Brian Kelly at Notre Dame, which that surprised me a little bit.
Yeah.
Bill Snyder at Kansas State didn't surprise me, given that he's near the end of his career somewhere.
Sure.
Don't know if it's a year or two, but that doesn't surprise me that he would be on a shorter term. Sonny Dykes at Cal, who reportedly interviewed for a couple of jobs this year and is in contract talks right now with Cal. He's returning, and negotiations underway. I would guess you're going to hear about an extension for Sonny Dykes at Cal in the coming days. And the fourth one, Kevin Wilson at Indiana, who is also, per the AD, Fred Glass at Indiana, they're in negotiations about extending his term, and then Dana would be the fifth one. So guys that entered this season with less than 4 years remaining, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah.
You got 7 guys that had less than 4 years. So it's something it
is unusual.
We go round and round about this all the time. And again, I spent nearly 20 years in athletic administration at 3 different Division I institutions, and if I've heard it once, I've heard it 100 times from coaches in all sports. This is not just a football thing. The ideal is to be able to go into a kid's home and say that, you know, you have a contract. Other schools can't come against you and say, well, he's only got 2 years
Yeah.
I don't know how long he's going to be there. So that's always something that's used, and administrators always say, is that really happening on the road? We talked to Kevin Kinder on Hotline about it. Was it really happening? Alan referenced it there. It's just something you don't know if that's fact or if it's made up or if it's a little of both. But what you do know, Greg, is that it's unusual to not have at least 4 years on a contract, at least as it relates to Power 5 conferences.
Yeah, again, I mean, is it a bargaining point by the coach and their representative, or is it used at in a huge purpose in the recruiting trail? And I'm sure it's used. Everything's used in the recruiting trail, but is it a huge factor? But obviously, from the coaching standpoint, the more security you can get, the better you will feel. So obviously, they're going to push for as much extension as they possibly can get, and so
they should. I don't blame any coaches for doing that.
Negotiating works.
Yeah,
right?
that's how it works. I mean, each side takes its leverage and does what it can do to better itself on that side. So when I say that stuff, I'm not being critical of coaches from that standpoint, because again, the flip side is you don't perform, you're going to get fired. So
yeah.
I get how it works. I just think that's one of the reasons this has been at the forefront of a discussion, I think, all season, and then has come to a head this year, because you're getting ready to enter, if no renegotiation takes place, which I expect it to. But it's just unusual. You just don't see guys with 2 years left on a contract.
Exactly. You go into next year, and obviously you'd only have one after that.
Yeah, which you just literally nobody has that.
No.
Nobody's coaching with one. But it also sets up, I mean, it's just a very interesting dynamic, Greg. And again, I've seen this at multiple schools between many ADs and coaches, is it creates an interesting dynamic between the coach and the AD, because it's a lot of times it's groups that want two different things. What Shane Lyons wants out of this, even if he wants Dana to return, even if he decides, hey, Dana's my guy, I want him as my coach, he has a responsibility to get involved in contracts that the university can pay for if need be.
Yeah.
He's got to get the best deal he can for the department. Dana Holgerson's job is to get the best deal he can get for Dana Holgerson. So you're at polar opposite ends of what you're looking for, and a lot of times that creates some angst between the parties when you enter into this stage. So that's just something that's inevitable. It happens in the job. You know that when you're sitting in the AD chair, that you may hit a time. You may be buddy-buddy when you first hire that coach, but there may come a time when some sort of fracture or divide is going to happen. You just wonder how far that divide goes.
I mean, think of all the professional athlete contracts that cause a lot of angst as those are being negotiated. The athlete thinks that they're, worth one price, and management thinks that they are worth another. And that's, these negotiations are no different than that. So, it's somehow, some way, you usually come to a compromise, though. And, if both sides want this to get done, they'll find middle ground. But, where's that middle ground, I guess, ultimately will be the question. It will not be purely one-sided like the last contract was. I can't believe that.
Yeah, it just won't. I just can't imagine it will be. You talk about something that would be stunning. That would be absolutely stunning if it's a renewal with no buyout included and a fully guaranteed contract. I would be absolutely stunned. I just can't imagine that we would see that. All right, I got to get another break in here in just a minute. Coming up in just a few minutes after the next break, I think you guys are going to like this. Brandon McClung, in fact, I said he was a WVU graduate earlier. If I'm not mistaken, Greg, he's a two-time WVU graduate, undergrad and grad, works now for the Sports Business Journal, and that group puts out a great list each bowl season. I think this is a really interesting, fun thing that goes on, is what kind of gifts are the players getting when they head to these bowls? So that's something we'll talk to Brandon about here in just a second. And a quick reminder, our friends at Northside Automotive, Greg, Santa Claus is coming to Northside Chevrolet. If you're in that general area, Saturday, December 12th from 10 a.m. to noon, Santa and Mrs. Claus will be at the dealership. Head down, meet Santa, meet Mrs. Claus. But one thing they're asking for, bring a toy. Bring a new toy to put in the back of one of their pickup trucks there. And they've done this for the last couple of years. It's a pretty neat thing they do, Greg. They're going to take a bunch of toys, and they're going to load up, and they're going to bring multiple trucks and vans up to Children's Hospital over at WVU and take those around to Children's Hospital and distribute those toys. And Santa comes along with them to take those toys. And I've been with them when they've done that. It's awesome. It is really neat to see those kids, at least for a short period of time, have their day brightened by these toys. So if you're in the general area, Route 19 in Summersville, stop by, see our friends at Northside, drop off a toy, and then meet Santa coming up Saturday, December 12th from 10 to 12. Time for a break. When we come back, Brandon McClung, Sports Business Journal, joins us.
When you drive impaired in West Virginia, you break the law and endanger the lives of others. Law enforcement across the state is committed to keeping impaired drivers off the road. If you drive impaired, be prepared to pay the price. There are consequences. It's simple, West Virginia. Drive sober or get pulled over.
A study from England shows that men spend more time each day looking at themselves than women. Well, believe that study or not, the point is we all want to look our best all the time. Well, the same holds true for businesses. We judge businesses, in fact, by their look. At Pikewood Creative, we produce videos and commercials that make businesses look their very best. And you know what? It improves their business. They get more customers and clients. If you'd like your business to look better, then check us out at pikewoodcreative.com.
The Northside Automotive statewide Sportsline returns in 2 minutes, on MetroNews. For 30 years, the voice of West Virginia.
Almost there. Just 5 more minutes. Almost home.
Statistics show that 80% of auto fatalities occur close to home on rural roads.
Cops.
That's why law enforcement is stepping up rural patrols and cracking down on impaired driving. If you are over the limit, you are under arrest because drinking and driving don't mix. Remember, over the limit, under arrest. This message brought to you by the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
This fall, not all blockbusters are movies. The Jeep Black Friday Blockbuster Sales Event. It's the must-see event of the year. Well-qualified current lessees of competitive vehicles get a low-mileage lease on the 2015 Grand Cherokee Laredo for $279 a month.
We're back, Northside Automotive, statewide Sportsline. Brad Howe, Greg Hunter, along with you. And as I was saying there, as we were leading into the break, one of the fun things I think about bowl season is taking a peek at what the players receive from each of the bowls. And the Sports Business Journal does a great job each year detailing these gifts. And joining us right now from the Journal is the pride of Raynell, West Virginia, two-time WVU graduate, Brandon McClung. Brandon, welcome back to the program.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Did I get the intro right? You are a two-time graduate, correct?
Correct.
That boy. Wanted to make sure I didn't shortchange you a degree there. Let's start.
No, I'm still paying my student loans.
Let's start here, because you guys have done this for a while. How many years has the Journal been doing it, and you've been a part of this process?
This started in 2006, so we're going into our 10th year. And the way it got started was I'd come back the previous year from the Sugar Bowl, which WV beat Georgia. Mm-hmm. And I told the members of staff about all the gifts that my brother had received through his 4 years as a member of the team, and we decided to dig deeper into it and look, and that's how our database began.
So you're actually not only working on the project, you're the genesis of this thing. That's okay. You can say it. You can say it. Go ahead.
You can say that.
All right, let's start here. First question. What's the most common or most popular item that you see when you look across all these bowls?
By far this year, just like the last couple of years, it's the gift suites. This year, and out of the 41 bowls, a player can go through a gift suite at 25 of them. But also, without a gift suite, you can Fossil watches, Ogio, and Oakley products are gifted by. They're the most popular gifts of the other bowl games.
All right, before we get into that, go backwards for a minute. Explain to everybody listening, what's it mean, because you're right, you hear that a lot about the gift suite. What's it mean when there's a gift suite? What happens?
This idea started in 2008 with the bowl committees, and this is when a third-party vendor will come in either to an on-campus site or at the team hotel in the bowl city. They'll set up a room with hundreds of items ranging from electronics to furniture to jewelry. The players are given an order form, and they're allowed to come in and pick and choose what they want to receive up to the NCAA limit. So a player could come out with only 1 or 2 large items or up to 9 or 10 huge or smaller items.
So with that said, obviously West Virginia's destination is the Cactus Bowl. Do you know yet what the Cactus Bowl is going to be giving out?
Well, it's not going to be a free night stay from the bowl sponsor, Motel 6. The Cactus Bowl is going to give out a Fossil watch and a backpack and also a gift suite on campus before the team leaves for Arizona.
Well, that's good. So that way they don't have to worry about transporting, because I remember one year they gave out bicycles or mountain bikes, which is sort of cool, but obviously they didn't hand them to them in wherever it was, but the logistics of transportation became a problem for kids.
Greg, that was nice. That was nice of you right there to ask that question. Go ahead, ask him what you really want to ask him. Go ahead. He's not going to know this, but go ahead, ask him.
Do you know any of the media gifts for any of these bowl games?
We don't.
That's your next project.
The schools can buy extra packages to give out to VIPs and administrators, alumni, donors. But we'll have to look into add a media chart for next year.
What's the total price that the bowl gifts total up to? What's that number up to now?
The NCAA allows $550 per player, but also the schools can give an additional $400, and also the conferences up to $400 per player.
Wow. And a lot of times the schools, I don't know about conferences, schools give out a lot of gear, right? I mean, in terms of sweatsuits, sweatshirts, things like that, right?
Yeah, when we started this 10 years ago, that's what the bowl committees were giving out. They were giving out the clothing, the rings, and mini helmets. But now the schools have taken over those type of items, and the bowls have shifted to the gift suites and more electronic items.
Okay, so what is your favorite gift out of all these bowl games this year?
For me, this year it's got to be the custom-made cowboy boots from the new Nova Home Cares Arizona Bowl.
I saw that.
The players can go in and choose everything from the boot collar to the material they're made of. Now, can you imagine over 250 pairs of cowboy boots for football players hadn't been customized?
Yeah, that's pretty wild. That's a nice gift. We're talking with Brandon McClung, WVU graduate and currently with the Sports Business Journal. Okay, so let me ask you this. Is there a game in particular that each of these years you go back to and you just know it's going to be the one, it's kind of the trendsetter, it's the one that's out in front in terms of these gifts? Who has the best reputation among the bowls?
People always seem to like the ones that give out the gift cards and the shopping sprees to either Best Buy or Belk, and this year it's the Bass Pro. At the Liberty Bowl, they've taken the old Pyramid Arena in Memphis and turned it into a massive Bass Pro Shops, and so the players from Kansas State and Arkansas are going to get to go to a shopping spree there.
That's interesting. That's creative.
I don't remember what they did last year at the Liberty Bowl. Do you have that, Brendan?
Yeah, last year, which WV played in, was a bunch of Nike-related gear.
That's cool.
And it was mostly just Nike gear?
Yeah, last year was Nike gear, and I believe they also got a watch with that also.
Watches are popular, but I'm not sure in today's world the 18 to 22-year-old appreciates a fine watch. Am I right?
They don't. It's good for a keepsake, though.
Sure. Good keepsake. I've got all of mine, Greg. All those bowl watches I have, I still have them.
Do you wear them?
I do occasionally. I have one I have one that's different from my watch I wear daily. So yeah, I break it out occasionally. You kind of mentioned. Go ahead.
One cool item from last year was the championship game. They gave out custom-made foot lockers. It had the CFP logo on it, also the school logo and a plaque with all the bowl information. So that was the iconic gift given out by the championship game.
Brandon McClung, Sports Business Journal, is our guest. Do you know what the national championship game's giving out this year? Have they divulged that?
It's embargoed for another week or so.
Then they'll let that out. Are there any bowls that declined to participate and tell you what they were getting?
It's only down to the Cotton Bowl, and for 10 years, every year we've done this, they have not divulged their list.
Hold on. So the only bowl that doesn't participate is the Cotton, and they have never participated? They won't tell you?
That's correct.
Are they giving you a reason?
They want to be a surprise
No
for the
reason.
players?
Yeah.
Nope, we've never gotten an answer or a direct answer why they won't give it to us.
Oh, interesting. Interesting. So I was going to, you referenced this earlier. The thing that has changed the most in this process since you started covering this would be what?
Well, back when we started 10 goes, there were only 32 bowls. Now we're up to 41. And so each year you'll see the bowls shift from, like I said, from the clothing to more electronics. And now you give out TVs or Bluetooth speakers. Also, at the Liberty Bowl this year, and they're giving out customized binoculars in addition to the gift suite or to the shopping spree at Bass Pro Shops.
What's the percentage, or just ballpark it, the percentage of people of the bowls doing gift suites? Is it half of them now?
25 out of 41.
Look at that, Greg. He's
Wow.
right on it.
Over
That
half.
exact number. Right on it.
Yep.
And I mean, you know, we treat this as a cool thing. Among the players, this is bigger than the trip itself. I mean, I remember, over the many years I've done this, I mean, this, you know, they'll rate them. I mean, you go up to, so what's your favorite one? One year I got a recliner. My dad got that. And, you know, it's.
A lot of players use the shopping spree as a way to buy Christmas gifts.
Absolutely.
You do what you got to do. You do what you got to do. Do you find when you're talking, and Brandon McClung, Sports Business Journal, is our guest, do you find when you're talking to some of these bowl reps, do they feel the pressure each year to make sure they keep stepping up their game and not be the bowl that has the worst gift?
They do. They don't want to be at the bottom rung of bowls. You see them stepping up each year.
That's great. That's great. All right, we'll let you run, my friend. Great stuff, as always. It's one of our favorite pieces to read, and I just tweeted out at BradHouse07, I just tweeted out the link that has all the information, and they can certainly keep up with your stuff at Sports Business Journal, and we encourage you, if you're a sports fan and you like the business aspect of this world, there's nothing better than the Sports Business Journal. We appreciate you taking some time. Hope to see you when you're back this way for the holidays.
All right. Thanks for having me, guys.
All right, Brandon. Thanks for being with us. There he is, Brandon McClung. Again, the pride of Raynell, West Virginia, WVU grad.
Interesting. I mean, and again, as you look through this list, all bowls give great gifts to players, but only a very few bowls treat the media with any kind of decent gift. The BCS bowls, or what we used to call the BCS bowls, and I haven't been to one, were incredible. I mean, Gator Bowl used to give out these luggage pieces that I still have. Brad, and you and I have talked about that. You ended up with a couple yourself. I mean, I've got some really neat stuff. Then Pinstripe Bowl, they gave the media a toboggan that didn't really fit. They were all women's size. So my big lunk, I mean, you think that thing's fitting on my head? A really bad umbrella. I mean, a little cheap, chintzy umbrella.
So you have high anticipation for what your gift will be for covering the Cactus Bowl. Is that what you're
we'll
saying?
See. Last time,
what do you want? You want clothing, or you want some
I
article
don't want
of
clothes.
luggage?
Nothing. None of these bowls ever have clothes that fit me. I mean, I'm not a standard size, right? So
what do you want? You need another bag?
No. You know what the Fiesta Bowl gave last time? And I remember it may be my all-time favorite gift. They gave Oakley sunglasses, and I had mine forever. Just within the last year or so, they've gone bye-bye. So, I mean, I don't buy high-end sunglasses. I'd never spend that kind of money. But to get one and to have one, you walked into a big room, sort of our own little gift suite, but they had a few different things and a bunch of different Oakley sunglasses, high-end, $100+ things. That may be my all-time favorite gift.
I'll wait with anticipation to hear what your
so
gift
we'll
is
see.
going to be.
I can just see the segregation. The Fiesta Bowl media guys, you go to this nice gift room. We'll give you something decent. And the Cactus Bowl guys, you go down into the basement. Here's a pen and pencil set.
Well, as we've said from experience, we both know the Fiesta Bowl does a tremendous
job. Great job.
They do a tremendous job. It's the same people.
We're staying at the same media hotel. This is the same media hotel for both Cactus and Fiesta Bowl people. So we're not segregated in lodging.
You never know. You never know. Well, I just tweeted out, like I said, the listing of all the teams. When we get to break here, I will also tweet out. Sports Business Journal did a nice job of putting some videos out of some different schools, Alabama, Michigan, Oregon, are three that come to mind. They have some videos walking around what that gift suite looks like, where they set it up at the school so you can kind of get a look for what the different electronics are. The recliner, there's a recliner in a couple of these, so you'll see those. So I'll tweet that out here when we head to break at Brad Howe 07. Time to get a break in now. When we come back, if you want to join in, we'll have some time for your calls. 1-800-765-8255, 1-800-765-TALK. We're back after this on the Northside Automotive statewide Sportsline.
Someday, we'll go to the edge of the galaxy. But for now, you can go to the ends of the earth in a Jeep brand SUV. Find your adventure in the Jeep Grand Cherokee, the most awarded SUV ever. Catch a show of shooting stars underneath the night sky in the Jeep Cherokee, the 2015 four-wheeler of the year. And go far, far away in the Jeep Renegade with up to 31 mpg highway. Hurry into the Jeep year-end blockbuster sales event. Going on now.
Star Wars The Force Awakens, December 18th, rated PG-13. Well-qualified lessees of competitive vehicles get a low-mileage lease on the 2015 Grand Cherokee Laredo 4x4 for $279 a month for 36 months with $24.99 due at signing. Tax, title, and license extra. EPA estimate, 1.4-liter engine with manual transmission. Call 1-888-925-JEEP for details. Requires dealer contribution and lease through Ally. 20-cent charge for each mile over 30,000. Residency restrictions apply. Take delivery by 1/4/16. Jeep is a registered trademark of FCA US LLC.
As a cyclist, we make choices. We choose which motorcycle manufacturer to buy from. We choose what type of motorcycle we ride. We even choose where and when to ride. We also choose to ride straight, alcohol and drug-free. Alcohol is involved in 50% of motorcycle fatalities in West Virginia. That's 1 in 2 drivers who die each year. Don't become a statistic. Ride straight, alcohol and drug-free. Presented by the West Virginia Department of Transportation, Governor's Highway Safety and Motorcycle Safety and Awareness Program.
The Northside Automotive statewide Sportsline returns in 2 minutes, on MetroNews. For 30 years, the voice of West Virginia.
Almost there. Just 5 more minutes. Almost home.
Statistics show that 80% of auto fatalities occur close to home on rural roads.
Cops.
That's why law enforcement is stepping up rural patrols and cracking down on impaired driving. If you are over the limit, you are under arrest because drinking and driving don't mix. Remember, over the limit, under arrest. This message brought to you by the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
This fall, not all blockbusters are movies. The Jeep Black Friday Blockbuster Sales Event. It's the must-see event of the year. Well-qualified current lessees of competitive vehicles get a low-mileage lease on the 2015 Grand Cherokee Laredo for $279 a month.
Northside Automotive, statewide Sportsline. Brad Howe, Greg Hunter, along with you. Final segment of the show. Greg, we got some breaking news concerning Big 12 football coming out of the University of Texas. Much uncertainty this year with their offensive coordinator situation. They switched around some duties. Jay Norvell inserted as the play calling handle the play calling duties after the first couple of games, but now they've announced a permanent hire.
Yeah, well, it's a report yet. It hasn't been official, but it does appear that the University of Texas is going to hire Sterling Gilbert, who is currently the co-offensive coordinator at Tulsa. Not a real old guy, so it's somewhat of an interesting hire. While he is a Texas native, he's had short stints at Bowling Green in Eastern Illinois, and then spent this past year at Tulsa. Now, obviously, reputation has developed some quarterbacks along the way, including at Eastern Illinois. Jimmy Garoppolo, if you remember him from a few years ago, was a big name coming out of Eastern Illinois and ultimately ended up as a second-round draft choice of the New England Patriots. So he's thought of as a quarterback coach, guru, and an offensive coordinator. Certainly, if you watch the quarterback play at the University of Texas, somebody that is going to be challenged immediately to try to get that position better. So, like I said, younger guy and going to jump in to a very interesting situation there with the Longhorns.
All right, let's transition back to West Virginia, talk from the football side, and we've mentioned a bunch about this Dana Holgorsen contract, and I think it's clear the reason you saw the statement come out last night from Shane Lyons was a direct result of some national groups picking up the speculation that he may not return. That was especially problematic because you've got the coaches out right now, assistants and Dana Holgorsen himself, making in-home visits, both to recruits and people that have verbally committed. So let's talk recruiting here for a second. First of all, just an update on how that's going, that process. What kind of take us through what happens this time of year with recruiting?
Well, and the reason that they needed to do this now, this is what is called an evaluation period. Coaches can be out, talk to players, they can do visits, do all those type of things, but that closes down on this Sunday. So after that, until after the national championship game, it's a dead period where coaches can't go on the road, do visits, do any of those type of things. I don't even think during this period you can host on-campus visits. So most of the visits will come later. So West Virginia needed to get out in front of this story and get some, answers before recruits while they're still able to make these visits and talk to them in person. So that's why it was important to get this done here and now. And then the next big date for recruiting, even though it's a dead period, next Wednesday is the start of the junior college early enrollment signing period. Any of the junior college players that are going to enroll in January can start signing letters of intent this coming Wednesday. And West Virginia's going to have a couple of those. Elijah Battle, a recent recruit, defensive back, corner, possibly safety, is going to enroll in January. He plans on signing on Wednesday. I don't believe Kazir White is going to enroll in January. He won't be able to enroll until after the spring semester is over, but one of his teammates, Trevon Westcott, tight end from Lackawanna Community College as well, at one point has thought he would be able to enroll, so we'll have to see what his status is. But any other junior college players in West Virginia, still after several of those that plan on enrolling in January, they can start signing this coming Wednesday. So that's a big date for West Virginia as well. Now, high school kids also can enroll in January, and West Virginia's going to end up with probably 3 or 4 at least of those. Those kids don't sign letters of intent prior to their enrollment. So when you see next Wednesday, hey, this kid is signed, well, it doesn't mean Cody Saunders, who plans on enrolling at West Virginia. That doesn't really mean anything for him because high school kids at this point in time, that will change probably in the not too distant future. But right now, those kids don't sign those same letters of intent.
As you look through some of those junior college names you just named out there, and I know we've talked about this before, the expectation is if the junior college guys step in and play right away, their clock's already going. You guys want to step in and play. Can you pick 1 or 2 of those that you've heard from coaches that they identify and say, hey, we think this is the guy out of this class?
Well, Kazir White, I mean, is huge. Not just because of name. I mean, take the name out of it, and obviously for Mountaineer fans, that's hard to do. But just factor in both ability and position. and he's huge. Out of everybody in this class that West Virginia is going to sign, he would be the one kid, and even though he wouldn't be able to enroll until May, and that's a shame, because if you're in January, this would be a slam dunk. He's at a position of need, and he has talent to step in from day one and be a major factor for West Virginia at the safety position. Fits perfect for West Virginia at the spur safety. I mean, he's a big, almost linebacker type kid that really hits, but has enough athletic ability to run and cover as well. So out of everybody in this class who's committed right now, I mean, Steven Smothers, a high school kid's really good and probably helps next year as well. And the other two junior college kids in Battle and Westco also factor in next year. But White, to me, is the biggest piece to this puzzle because he's probably a starter. I mean, he'll at least compete to be a starter from day one, because both he's that good and he's at a position you need. I mean, that's Carl Joseph and KJ Dillon's positions. I mean, he's probably the spur, so he probably fills in for KJ. But still, one of the two, they're sort of mirror images of each other. But they really need to hang on to him. And Penn State's making a push for him. So that tells you Louisville has recently come in and tried to make a hard charge for him. So, I mean, here's the kid with ability, because you're seeing the other schools that are involved with him. West Virginia's obviously had a commitment for a long time. You've got the familial tie. But, you just hope that he's not swayed by anything on the outside, because he's important to next year's defense.
Boy, you would think, and I know we talked to Kevin Kinder with your group, bluegoldnews.com, in the last show we did here on Hotline, and as coaches, you're always concerned until you see the signed letter come across the fax machine, which, by the way, can we get a better way to do that? Why are we still doing fax machines?
Nah, I don't know why.
Why are we doing that? Get it back. But
anyway, you have to go dig it out of the closet to get to dust it off to get to use it, right?
Just scan the thing and send it in. Anyway, I digress. I know you're always nervous as a coach until you get that signed contract in there, but boy, you would think you have to feel good with everything that White's bringing to the table there. You would think you got to feel as good about that one as most, right? Fair or no?
Yeah, I think you're fair. And other than a kid or two, I think this class is pretty solid for West Virginia in terms of kids not flipping. Again, with Dana's situation, that led to a little bit of concern for a while, certainly among several recruits who may have been wondering what the future was. But now with this statement, you feel a little bit better. The contract itself, people will still use that against West Virginia, but you need to hang on to a vast majority. Nobody hangs on to everybody. Best of situations, West Virginia will lose a kid. I mean, I don't care who is here and for how long. That's just par for the course. One or two are always going to flip on you, but typically this is pretty solid.
Yep, makes sense. Quick reminder before we get out of here, if you ever wanted to tour the homes of West Virginia's original millionaires, the Bramwell Christmas Home Tour is the perfect opportunity to see how Victorian coal barons of the past lived. Stroll the streets and admire the Christmas decorations and light posts, storefronts, and more. Real holiday spirit. You'll find it here. Wild, wonderful West Virginia. Good stuff tonight, Coach Hunter. Thank you.
Thanks
for the full day. That'll do it for all of us tonight. If you missed any part of the show, remember, you can catch the podcast on iTunes or visit our website, wvmetronews.com, and download tonight's show. And if you go to the Metro News channel on the website, you can download not only the audio but the video portion, so you can make sure you won't want to miss what Hunter and I looked like tonight. I know that's popular throughout the state. Thanks to Alan and Brandon McClung for joining us tonight. Special thanks, Maddie Sunday on the video, Joe Nelson on the phones. We'll talk to you tomorrow, 6:06. For Greg, I'm Brad. Thanks for listening. We're out.
The Northside Automotive statewide Sportsline has been an exclusive presentation of the Metro News Radio Network. Copyright 2015. All rights reserved.